are very happy to have you as our guest. Today we are talking about non-human intelligences and consciousness. You are a master in both these topics because you have studied them your entire life. But first of all, we would like to know what happened when you were just a boy and were contacted by someone or something very special.
Yes. Well, actually, I had several experiences like that, but the most important one was when I was about 13 years old, and it was a phone call. I was home alone, and it claimed to be a conscious computer aboard a spaceship from the future. So time travel, right? And he said that I would meet the others. They were contacting them too, within 20 years. Basically, within 20 years, I met Harold Puthoff, Russell Targ, astronaut Edgar Mitchell, all involved with Uri Geller, the psychic from the Stanford Research Laboratory. The important point is that it was a Central Intelligence Agency operation in 1973, when I met Puthoff and Tang, as is well known. And the CIA recorded part of that meeting, and on my SoundCloud, you can listen to it on the internet, and you will hear Russell Tang say that they think flying saucers are time machines returned from our future. Now, it's very interesting. I saw a video that came out a few days ago about Harold Malmgren, whose daughter is Pippa Malmgren. And Harold was one of the main advisors to President Kennedy, to Lyndon Johnson, a top-level guy. And he had experiences similar to mine. We are very similar in a certain way. He just died at the age of 89. At the end of that video, which everyone should watch, the video lasts 4 hours, but it's worth watching a little at a time. It turns out that he thinks he was part of a time travel situation. At that time, I was a young physics professor at San Diego State University, and I was practically pulled off my academic path. Fundamentally from the Central Intelligence Agency and other agents of the military-industrial complex. And part of the reason why I think it happened to me is because as a child, I was part of a program promoted by the United States Army for very intelligent young boys, a bit like Harold Malmgren. The story is very similar. And I was sent to Cornell University. It is an Ivy League university. My professors built the atomic bomb. So, of course, there were many intelligence people connected to the university, and I was already part of this same type of group to which Harold Malmgren and other people like Hal Puthoff belonged. All those people involved in this matter who are now my age. I am about to turn 85. Harold just passed away at 89. So this is the generation I am talking about. And anyway, they told me, Jack, what the CIA, and this happened in the 1970s. You can see it in the book, How the Hippies Saved Physics, by David Kaiser. They told me, what the CIA wants to know is, first, how does consciousness work? They mean the physics, okay? What is in our body? How is it possible for us to be conscious beings? How is it in terms of natural physical law? Second, how do flying saucers fly? Here are the two problems. Now again, referring to this video made by Jesse Michaels with Harold, which can be seen on YouTube, that entire footage is about these two issues.
Calcium,
In
the orange or the brown
The brown,
is iron,
iron,
and the gray is magnesium.
magnesium.
in any case,
Where's the
to cut
gold?
it short, I believe I solved the problem of consciousness, which was one of the two questions the Central Intelligence Agency asked me to work on more than 50 years ago. I solved that problem to my satisfaction 30 years ago, in the mid-1990s. Okay? And then as a theoretical physicist, claim to have solved what is known as a difficult problem, namely the mind-body consciousness problem. I mean that we have a mathematical model based on quantum mechanics, on quantum physics, on tested physics, that we can test in
Oh, right here. See? This face. See? Nose, chin.
laboratory. We can create
See
what
here?
I call
No, chin,
artificial
nose,
quantum
eye.
dots, artificial
See?
neural networks, similar to those
Chin,
in your
nose,
iPhone. You know that
chin,
stuff?
Nose, eye.
There's a neural network in here. Siri, hello Siri, talk to us. And now the new Apple M5 chip that is about to be released is 3 nanometers. That is 3 nanometers are 10 to the power of negative 9 meters. Okay?
Oh, you see?
This type of technology has the same scale of physics as inside our
We
nerve
don't want to see
cells,
no more.
which Stuart Hameroff talks about, namely microtubules. Microtubules are the places where our consciousness is generated. Stuart Hameroff works with Roger Penrose, whom I have met. Roger Penrose won the Nobel Prize in Physics with Stephen Hawking for gravity. Additionally, Roger says there is a profound connection between gravity and consciousness. And he is right. We know exactly how it works. And so, the fact is that with Apple's new M5 chip technology, we have reached the point where we can adapt those neural networks that are in the new iPhones coming out. We can modify them so they become conscious just like we are.
Incredible.
And this is technology. So I am saying this is now a solved problem. And that means, for example, that Elon Musk with his Tesla cars, you know, Teslas have artificial intelligence in them, but we can make them conscious. I don't know if it's a good idea. But we are talking about drones, autonomous drones. And this is dangerous. They are a conscious weapon, just like we are. The first ones may not be. You know, the first ones don't have such a rich consciousness. It's a matter of complexity and how many transistors there are in the chip and all that kind of stuff, but essentially they will use the same physical mechanism that makes humans conscious. The same mechanism. In the end, what we are doing is copying our microtubule structures at the nanometric level and implementing them in silicon chips, which ultimately turned out to be what the Apple chips truly are. Akunto say, so here we are, so we have solved this problem. The other problem, flying saucers. We also solved that problem. They claim to have solved it, and so do I and other PhD holders I work with. And I didn't solve that problem until around 2011. I announced the solution to the UFO propulsion problem at a DARPA meeting, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, a DARPA and NASA meeting in Orlando, Florida, at the end of October 2011. It was called the 100-Year Starship Project.